Fossil fuel obsolescence is on the horizon. They know that, and they will make sure that they will squeeze every last penny until that future happens. And we should not stand to let their greed for any day longer. I ask for your aye vote.
Oof, yes, you heard it. That was California Assemblyman Alex Lee, who introduced SB X12. Yeah, and the good news is it passed. So what is SB X12 other than a bunch of letters and numbers? Well, let's look at what Common Dreams has to say. The California Assembly voted 52-19 on Monday in favor of the bill, which will empower the California Energy Commission to impose profit caps and penalties on refiners and create an intra-agency watchdog tasked with conducting greater oversight of fossil fuel companies to minimize profiteering. The new law will allow the CEC to levy daily fines of $5,000 to $20,000, up to a maximum of $500,000, if a company does not provide the agency with data to determine if it's complying with the legislation. CEC fines are currently capped at $2,000. $2,000, please. The dental implant I just got does not even, it totally eclipses that. Like, get out of here. Oh my God, of course, which is why these oil companies weren't doing what they needed to do. Well, Cassie Siegel, the director of the Center for Biological Diversity Climate Law Institute, celebrated the passage of this law, saying despite the industry spending millions on lobbying, California is now one step closer to protecting working Californians from the oil industry's greed, whether it's price gouging at the pump or drilling in people's backyard. Big oil's days of harming our health and our pocketbooks must end. Now, as a reminder here, check out this chart. These big oil companies really smashed the profit records in 2022. That's right, when a lot of us were struggling with the price of eggs, all sorts of things were going through the roof, they were cashing in. They are making more money than before than ever. And so capping that, or at least letting them know there are gonna be penalties, is incredibly important. And this is a great step for California, and hopefully this is the kind of legislation that'll pick up more traction across the nation. Of course, I will go ahead and kind of go out there on a limb and say I'd like to see it go further. I'd like for there not to be set fines, but I would love for the fines to be based on a percentage of whatever your revenue is. That's how I would love to see speeding tickets, how I'd love to see any kind of these fines that Facebook and these other big companies get. Because otherwise it's just a drop in the bucket when they are reaping in profits in the billions, damn near trillions. So having a $500,000 to be the max fine isn't really that burdensome for them. Let's actually, hit them where it hurts. At least those are my thoughts. Jessica, what do you think?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, they can afford to pay these fines when they're literally profiting in the billions. So yeah, it's a slap on the wrist, but it's better than nothing at all, of course. The thing about this is they're raising prices just because they can. They're not raising prices because there's some additional costs. It's become more expensive for oil. They're certainly not raising prices because they're reinvesting a proportion of their profits into, I don't know, what needs to change about the energy industry. They're not investing in renewable energies. You are an energy company, and still, you would rather keep your costs low, keep extracting oil, and just if you feel like raising prices, you're gonna raise prices because you know what, the profits weren't as high when people were staying at home and weren't driving because we had that global pandemic. So let's make up for it by just hiking them. Let's line the pockets of our shareholders. I mean, seriously, this should be criminal because there are people who are making the really hard decision to cut back on spending on groceries, to cut back on spending on basic necessities because of the amount of money they were paying on energy and fuel, especially in California where it was extremely high. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. Hopefully they will not circumvent this fine and try and pass it off onto the consumer or what have you. We definitely need a windfall profits tax to address all of the money they've already made that's in their pockets. If you're at a poker game and someone's been cheating, you don't just say, hey, don't do that anymore, we'll punish you. You say, well, you took a lot of our money in an unfair way. We've got to set things right. So I would really like to see them retroactively tax the profits that they've made off of price gouging during the pandemic. Hopefully we'll see it go farther, but this is good news.
Oh wow, when you brought up someone cheating at the poker game, I was thinking that you break their kneecaps. That's how you show them not to do it again. But if you just want to take their money back, that's fine too.